Hey guys, welcome back to episode 17 of the Digital Demons podcast. We are back for another round, and man, got some crazy interesting stuff to go through this week. Found a bunch of just random kind of stuff throughout the week. I was actually paying attention this week, so that's kind of a good thing. For all the new listeners out there, just to let you guys know, this is available on all your favorite streaming services, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else you guys stream, including YouTube. You guys can get me on Instagram at digital_demons_podcast. Like I was just mentioning, you can find me on YouTube also. You just have to type in Digital Demons Podcast. I'm on X. Like I've said multiple times, don't really function on there, but we got a page on there. You can find me there at DGITLDMNSPOD. Can't make any promises I'm going to frequent that app, so you just kind of got to deal with that one. Or if you guys want, you guys can shoot me any emails at digitaldemonspodcast@gmail.com. So just to start off, happy Cinco de Mayo to all my peeps and fellow listeners out there, wherever you guys are at. I know we have a few that have actually picked up the show in Mexico, so happy Cinco de Mayo. And if you guys are out there doing any celebrating, I hope you guys are just being responsible and safe. Don't make any stupid choices while you're out there. So yeah, man, let's get right into it. Earlier this week, it was kind of funny, going on Instagram, whatever, checking people's stories out. Had a friend that was discussing picky eaters on their story, and not gonna lie, was like, hey, this is totally me. The question was raised like, hey, like if you're not eating vegetables, how are you guys pooping? Yeah, I'm getting right into the nitty gritty, dude. Yeah, so that was the question, and I just kind of laughed, and I was like, dude, I'm the pickiest eater in the whole world, if you know me at all, and I eat like a 2-year-old. I always get shit for it wherever I'm at, family or friends, definitely at work. They're like, oh, would you bring fucking chicken nuggets for work today to eat for lunch? And I'm just like, oh, guys, Jesus Christ. No, I didn't. That's going to be tomorrow. But anyways, yeah, so the whole thing was, if you're not eating vegetables and greens and whatever it was, how do you guys poop? And I'm just like, hey, nothing's wrong in the system. It's just, I don't prefer to eat it. It's not my deal. I don't eat like salads or lettuce or any of that shit. Like I never have. And to this day, I don't know what it is. It's just kind of like a texture kind of thing. And even just within like this last year, I just really started getting into like broccoli and fucking cabbage for whatever reason. And I don't know. I kind of got to ease my way into it, but never say never, I guess. But yeah, I just thought that was too fucking hilarious, man. Like I was just like, damn, I'm getting like drilled right now. Inadvertently, of course. But yeah, so I had to make a response and like, hey, man, like I do eat some, but they have to be basically cooked into like a mush. I'm big on texture kind of thing. I think that's a majority of my issue, is just like really crunchy and just not flavorful. Like texture stuff really trips me out. So I don't get along too well with like the leafy stuff. It has to be like cooked. I don't like eating raw carrots. They have to be cooked. I'll do spinach, but it's got to be like really cooked. I don't eat raw spinach and other that stuff. So shout out to the IG friends and everybody alike that I respond to and stuff like that, because some of that shit is just too hilarious. Personally attacking people like me. I'm just kidding. But so that was one thing that I just thought was hilarious. And thanks for tuning into the podcasts and stuff like that as well. I really appreciate it. And as far as food, okay, so this one was sent to me actually by a cousin. Shout out. And this was just like a what the fuck thing. Like it was sent on IG. So yeah, it was just kind of so off-putting. Like I thought it was hilarious, but very disgusting. It's a Vietnamese delicacy, I guess. I looked it up and just to kind of see like what's the deal with this thing. You're not gonna believe this shit. And maybe some people from Vietnam might be able to attest to it, or some Vietnamese friends can attest to this. I don't know if you guys have ever had this before. Let me know. For sure, let me know, because this one was a total what the fuck. Sweet and sour cow vagina. Okay, this is apparently a delicacy. It's a street food, and it's literally like one of the nastiest things I've ever seen be prepared. Like, I would never in my entire life dare to even see it in person, like let alone eat something like that. So for all you picky eaters out there, like, yeah, are you eating that stuff or are you not? Is this a go or is this a pass? This is a hard forever pass, because that has to be one of the nastiest fucking things I've ever seen in my whole life. I'll do like lengua tacos and stuff like that, and like menudo and stuff, but the cow vagina is where I draw the line at. That's gotta be like in some like total third world type shit, like how they eat bugs and all that stuff too, and scorpions and shit. You're not gonna catch me doing none of that. Like you could hand me a fistful of money and it ain't happening. Like that's just not cool. But that's coming from somebody who's a pretty spoiled eater, and yeah, I just don't fuck with random shit like that. So yeah, that will not be happening. But thanks for the submission too, by the way. That was like totally totally off the wall, and I was just like, no way is this thing like real. So I looked it up. Definitely is real. And they make like soups and all kinds of stuff out of that. I thought that was totally gross, but got a kick out of it anyways. So you never know. Let's see here. Man, there's a bunch of stuff. Speaking of other eating stuff, it was funny because I had already like jotted this down for the notes, I guess, like kind of thing that I do. I saw this guy on Instagram. His handle is @rawchickenexperiment. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that before, but this dude has been eating raw chicken every day, he says, till I get a tummy ache. And I think I looked on his page when I initially found it, and he was like at day 100. So he's over 100 days straight of eating like various types of like raw chicken. It's like meatballs or like just straight chicken breasts or like thighs and wings and all kinds of shit. And he like washes it down with raw eggs, and then he like even adds like condiments and stuff to it and everything. And surprisingly, his page, I didn't really find it to be disgusting. It was just kind of like, damn, this fool's gonna get like some serious fucking illness. But I guess he's doing it to prove a point that you can, I guess, eat raw chicken and it's not gonna really like tear you up. Am I willing to do that? No, not at all. But this dude apparently he's 100+ days now of just posting himself eating raw chicken, and he's got over 464,000 followers. But yeah, that's another like just weird, another weird little thing that I saw on Instagram. Man, Instagram is a trip. X is a trip. Like, I don't even follow anybody on X at all, and it's just like literally, like I was discussing this the other day with my brother. All it is just literally like fight videos and fucking people getting executed on there. Like, I have no search or like following, or I don't even think I have a single follower on X, honestly, because I'm so like inactive on there. But hey, feel free to follow me if you're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it still. But yeah, I was just kind of like, this shit's crazy, dude. Yeah, he was just going in on all this raw chicken, and yeah, another pretty gross little food thing going on with Instagram and whatnot. Let me see what else we got here. Let's see. This past week has been kind of just really, really weird. You guys, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if everybody just follows the news, at least here or there, but we've seen another whistleblower that's been like tied into the shit house known as Boeing. Another guy's died. He's the second whistleblower within like 2 months to die, like kind of randomly, I guess. This guy, Joshua Dean, he was a QA inspector at Spirit Aerosystems, and they're responsible basically for building the majority of the 737 MAX jets for Boeing. So he was a QA there, and back in like October of 2022, he had kind of like raised concerns or whatever about a few like areas in the rear section of the jets that had a bunch of like misdrilled holes, and I guess they're pretty major like component stuff like back there to like help maintain the cabin pressure and stuff during flight. And so he told everybody about this back in October of 22, and Boeing didn't even acknowledge that it was a problem until August of 2023. And so when they came out and made a public like admission of it or whatever, they acknowledged it, their stock dropped 10% the next day. So I mean, they lost a pretty hefty amount of money, I would imagine, in the 10% like hit that they took. So it would make sense that he's kind of like number one on their list as the guy that's basically exposing their weakness in their quality and stuff like that. So it kind of got a little more interesting and stuff like that. He was he had been at the Spirit company from 2019, and then he got laid off during the pandemic, and you know how everything worked with that. And then he came back and was actually fired April of 2023. So he had released a statement basically just banging on Spirit Aerosystems and Boeing, saying that he was fired, in a retaliatory kind of fashion after he told everybody, told the FAA that there was some shit going on, and then they all of a sudden canned him. So he was kind of working up a case, I guess. I don't think he was going to be like testifying or anything like that, but just recently, like the last week, I think it was, he all of a sudden came down with like breathing issues and stuff, and he had to go to the hospital, and then that turned into a pneumonia, and then he had a bacterial infection, which like ultimately like killed him or whatever. But his family was saying like there's no way that could have happened because he was like perfectly healthy. Like this dude was goes to the gym all the time, does his exercising and takes care of himself. He's never really had any problems, this and that. And, comes up with this mysterious illness out of nowhere. And he just so happens to be a whistleblower. Like, I don't know, dude. I think Boeing's trying to get the same body count as the Clintons, dude. Like, if you ask me, because it's just too similar of a situation. Like the last guy all of a sudden got so depressed that he killed himself, but he was a whistleblower in the Boeing situation as well. This guy is a whistleblower, same kind of issue, quality again, and he just fucking all of a sudden comes down with the illness one day and ends up dying, which is shitty. But I think Boeing is really doing some dirt, dude, if you ask me. I don't think it's looking good for those guys, because if they somehow get found out, like it's gonna get real nasty. But just a little piece of interesting news, and it's not looking good for anybody that's working at Boeing. I mean, I don't want to tell anybody to not speak up on shit like that, and be afraid to speak your mind or anything. But fuck, man, like if you're gonna get fucking whacked, by your company, that's kind of scary, knowing that that it's a possibility. You've seen 2 people now within the past 2 months, I think, dying, like just kind of randomly or mysteriously. And yeah, when they're perfectly fine one day and next they're sick or they kill themselves, in a very awkward way, kind of makes you a little bit nervous to work for one of those guys, I'm sure. So that's that kind of sucks. And then man, a lot of stuff in the news, especially all these bullshit ass protesters. Finally glad to see, after the weeks or whatever it's been, the Free Palestine fucking movement and all that shit that's been going on the college campuses. Police have just fucking went ham on these guys finally. I've been waiting to watch it happen. Getting all those people out of there. And it's crazy because they're saying the people that are being arrested for doing all this stuff, like taking over college campuses and breaking into buildings and doing all this radical shit, majority of them aren't even students on those campuses. And it kind of leads you to believe it's kind of like the same like BLM thing that was going on a few years ago, and where you just have a bunch of paid agitators going in there and causing ruckus, and they're making these like zones that are keeping people out and not letting people go to class, and it's like it was just a mess. So I'm just glad finally the cops in all different states have just been going in there and really just fucking doing work, getting these assholes out of the way and restoring order on campuses. Like I said, I'm not into college. I never have been. But yeah, I couldn't imagine like paying a fortune like these kids do to go to these huge universities, these Ivy League schools and stuff like that. And you're not trying to be involved in any of this shit, but these assholes aren't even letting you go to class. I would be losing my mind if, I have finals and graduation, on the line because these fuckers want to go in there and set up their tents, which is very odd too. The tents in some of these cases are all identical. Like, how do you have 100 or 200 people all have the same exact tent? If that's not weird, I don't know what is. Did they all just like march into Walmart or Costco and buy the whole lot? Or is it kind of something like BLM where they're set up with all this equipment and then they just get to go out, fucking set it up shop, and then, the party's on from there? I don't know, but it kind of rings a little bit similarly to the BLM thing that was going on with the whole riots and stuff like that. It's kind of it's kind of a little bit odd if you ask me. And also, dude, have you seen these people that they're arresting? Good Lord. They're disgusting looking. I mean, just unkempt, fucking stinky, got 10 different colors, running through their hair, and it's all faded out, and they're all disgusting and nasty looking. They got their masks on and all that shit, and like they exposed all this stuff too. Like when they first were going into these like encampments or whatever, they were finding pamphlets that were giving them directives like on how to talk to people, on what to do if they get approached by law enforcement, what to say, and all this other shit. And one of the guidelines was, anytime there's somebody that's not a part of the group or encampment or whatever, put your mask on. Everybody put your mask on. And it's just, I don't know. It's a bunch of coordinated shit that's got to be coming from some bigger entity. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's just like, hey, we're the student body. Let's go and fucking sit down in the middle of the yard over here and have a protest. I'm sure shit like that goes on campus all the time. And it's nothing new. But to have it to where it gets to this point where they're even disrupting like graduation ceremonies and stuff like that, like they're standing up during graduations and pulling fucking Palestine flags out and totally disturbing the whole shit. Like, these people work hard to get to this point, and you fuckers are gonna go mess it up right now in front of their family. And I don't know, it's put a bad taste in my mouth since the whole shit started. And so I'm just glad the cops are locking it down, fucking these fools up, arresting them. And it's not like they're going to ever have anything anyways. These are all paid agitators. The college kids that are in the groups probably aren't even going to have a job after that. They probably will never be able to get a job. And the fucked up part is they're going to go and sit on that student debt because they're too lazy and they're a piece of shit people to go get a job. Like I said in the last episode, we'll have to pay for their fucking student debt eventually after they're sitting there chanting death to America and all this other bullshit. We're going to go ahead and give them a lot of money to just fucking kick off their student debt. So, yeah, a little bit in the pissed category when it comes to that. But it is cool to see the frat boys, dude. Frat boys are just fucking holding it down for the country, dude. All these different colleges, you have all these different fraternities and stuff like that, and they're coming to these protests as counter-protesters. And you see this one video, I think it was Ole Miss, and these guys are sitting up on this little stair area, and this fucking just gigantor of a woman over there screaming at him, and the guy pulls out $100 bill. He's like, I'll give you $100 if your fat ass can do one push-up. I got $100. Get your fat ass down to a push-up. Dude, I was losing my shit. Hilarious. And he was just talking all kinds of shit to this lady. And the cops were like, all right, lady, like, all right, ma'am, you got to get behind the barricade, because she came out like she was going to do something. There's like 300 of these motherfuckers, and she just comes out there trying to press everybody. And so they started talking more and more and more shit to her. And, yeah, just got her all riled up. And they're the ones doing the heavy lifting now at the school campuses, which is good to see. Your party boys out there fucking holding it down for the US of A. So, I think that's pretty cool, and I'm enjoying those scenes for sure, as well as the tear gas ones getting lobbed into the other groups. It's pretty entertaining, and I hope it keeps happening. I mean, it's not like in California they're gonna go, to jail or anything. They'll be out in an hour or two, and then nobody ever goes to jail in California, anyways. But they all deserve to at least have the maximum fines and all that other shit for destroying stuff and leaving a mess on the college campuses. They claim that we're eco-friendly. We want to destroy all the pollution and all that. You look at these camps, dude. There's fucking trash everywhere. And then you had the other chick that had the nerve to be like, well, we're demanding that the colleges give us basic humanitarian aid. We need water. We need food. Bitch, nobody in their right mind is gonna give you a fucking single thing. Look at all the shit that you're doing right now. You think you deserve a fucking bottle of water? I wouldn't give you a squirt of piss if that was me. Not even a fucking little droplet of pee-pee. You wouldn't get nothing. But they're sitting there thinking like, oh man, we're in crisis. We can't get food or water, and they're denying it. Well, just take your fucking stupid ass down Lancashire and go to McDonald's. You fucking idiot. All of you and your dumbass friends, pull your stupid fucking masks down, go inside the restaurant and order. Which you probably are going to get some kind of fucking AI robot taking your order, since these motherfuckers can't pay everybody $20+ an hour to work in these restaurants anymore. So, it's a whole fucking shit show. But I'm glad to see it's getting cracked down on, and we're moving forward with all that shit. So no more TV time needs to go to these fuckers, man, because it's all just a bunch of ass, if you ask me. So let's see. Moving on. What else we got? I was reading today that Britney Spears, dude, they thought she was going to have another mental moment. We're all familiar with the famed, shaving of the head and all that stuff. But she was at the Chateau Marmont in LA the other night, apparently with her boyfriend, what's this fool's name? Paul Richard Solis. And they're doing their party thing, and they, I guess, went back to their room and started, like, just screaming at each other. She starts spazzing out. They go out into the hallway, whatever, and they're screaming and yelling, and, they call an ambulance because the guests there thought that she was, like, having another, like, mental breakdown. She didn't, I guess, really, have one. I guess she was just really, like, fucked up or something like that, and was hollering at that guy, and it got people kind of concerned. They're like, oh, did we hide all the hair clippers in here so she can't fucking give herself the fucking G.I. Jane haircut again? So yeah, they low-key called the cops, and the ambulance and stuff showed up, and neither one of them got in trouble. But I guess apparently she just left the guy there and like took off with her security like back home or whatever it was. But I was just thinking, like, dude, if the cops would have showed up and Britney's out there fucking swirling around knives and katana swords and shit like she does on Instagram, dude, they probably would have busted a cap in her ass, because she's off her rocker as it is. We all know that's just facts. But I'm just glad she wasn't armed with anything. No fucking candlesticks, no kendo sticks, or any of that shit. Because that would have really been a headline. Like, Britney Spears twirls swords at LAPD and gets shot, or gets fucking shot with a beanbag or something like that. That would have been for sure a headline. So, yeah, hopefully they get all their shit squared away and can be done with their boyfriend-girlfriend thing. Because that ain't cool, man. I fucking hate loud people. I hate when people cause disturbances when they drink and they've been just rowdy as all hell. That shit just gets on my fucking nerves, dude. To be completely honest with you, it's just a super anxiety-driven time for me if people are acting out, even in public, like shit, people that I don't even know. It's just like, fucking shut the fuck up kind of thing. And yeah, I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be around it. And it's Britney Spears, so they let it slide, of course, because she's a a huge celebrity, and they kind of have to, I guess, at some point. But just lucky that she didn't get capped on by the copperoonies. So yeah, what else do I got here? Oh man, the tornadoes, dude. Yeah, this past week, the tornadoes that were in the Midwest, going through like Oklahoma and Iowa and Nebraska and stuff like that. Seen some pretty crazy footage. One of them was the train that got like the direct hit. It's like a EF like 2 or 3, just like blazes over the top of this freight train, like blows the windows and cracks the windows and all this other shit. Flips one of the cars over, and yeah, it was pretty wild little bit of footage there. But I was reading online about it, just scrolling, and I came across one story of a dog. He was a Rottweiler named Zeus, and apparently he was inside of a metal crate like at his house, and the house that he lived in got hit by the tornado in Nebraska. And it like picked the crate up, and the story said it flew him 4 city blocks away from where the house was at, and then he managed to get out of the cage after landing and getting tossed around and God knows what else. He got out of the cage and was found like another 2 blocks up further away from like where he like landed or got dropped or whatever, and he was just sitting on a mattress waiting for somebody to like come and help him or whatever. I guess he's just a lucky dog, man. They said he only had a scratch on his nose, a couple of his nails were messed up, and then he had like a sore hip. And I was like, holy shit, dude! Like getting fucking flung through the air, dude, in a cage by a tornado, 4 city blocks, dude. That's a long ass fucking way away from your house. And you get sucked out of your house. You're getting tossed around and flung around and shit like that. You land. And luckily he didn't die and managed to, run up another couple blocks further than that. So the foundation that actually has the dog is keeping him right now free of charge to his family and stuff, because their house, I guess, got leveled, unfortunately. But that was kind of like a little, I don't know how you want to put it. I guess it's a feel-good story, but not a feel-good story because the house got fucked up, the family's out of a home, but, their dog is good, which, I take that. I'd rather have my dog than a house, honestly, because, that's just me. Loving on them dogs. And especially since he's a Rottie, too. Rotties are the best dogs, in my opinion. So, yeah, another little, I don't know if you guys seen this one. This one was, like, kind of all over the internet. This YouTuber Anthony Villa, he was flying a paramotor craft, and basically fucking fell out of the sky, dude. Like he was in the Enchanted Rock State Park in Texas, and he was trying to like test fly his it's a BGD Luna 3 paramotor. And if you don't know what a paramotor is, it's basically like hang gliding kind of thing, like a paragliding sail, I guess, attached to the top, and you wear this thing like a backpack, but it's a motor that has a propeller on it, and you basically can control, your throttle, and you can, just glide, I guess, however. But he says he was flying between 80 and 100 feet in the air and just lost power. And this dude went all that whole way down. He said he hit the ground at around 50 miles an hour. And the video is pretty wild. You're seeing him like pointing the camera at himself like that, and then he just starts spiraling, and he just fucking smacks the ground super hard, like ridiculously hard. And he's moaning and aching and stuff. And he uses his phone, his Siri thing, to call 911. And they came, I guess, like 30 minutes later and picked him up. But he did. It said he did suffer a fractured neck, back, pelvis, and he like shattered his arm in like a bunch of places, and he blamed it on missing a small pension knot in his pre-flight check. So just another one of those things, man. With just the aviation shit in general, like just the smallest little miscue can fuck people up. And luckily the guy didn't die, but the video is pretty gnarly. So if you go on YouTube and just, I'm pretty sure you can find it like right off the bat. You just type in this guy's name, and Yeah, you'll see him just drop like a fucking rock out of the air. It was pretty wild to see because especially falling that distance at that speed, dude, like some people would get flattened hitting the ground at 50 miles an hour. That's not exactly a hard or an easy thing to take, like hitting the ground at all, but let alone that fast from that high up. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, so yesterday, moving on to the next little tidbit, was the Kentucky Derby. Dude, I was amped because I was wondering when it was going to be on, and I was actually looking for the Supercross race. Just saw it on Peacock kind of randomly, and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to watch this whole thing, man. So many good races leading up to the main race, a lot of close races, and it was the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby, so it was a pretty big one to watch, just throughout the history, I guess, of 150 years, because, that's been around a long time before baseball, a long time before basketball, a lot of shit. Like, that's like one of the oldest sports that we have in the States. They say it's, the most exciting 2 minutes on earth, which it really is. If you've ever been to a horse race, man, that shit is so much fun. But yesterday, the main race was a mile and a quarter, and it was only the 3-year-old horses. So none of the horses were older than 3. And yeah, I love going to the horse races, man. Like we've been to Santa Anita a few times, and I'm not an avid like gambler or anything like that with horse racing, but it is fun to go check out. So I would highly suggest, if you've never been before, go check them out. It's a blast. Like, you don't even have to spend a lot of money. You don't even have to gamble if you don't want to, but you could take like $60-$80 in and be there the whole entire day, just making a couple bets here, a couple bucks on this one, win, place, or show, and yeah, it's a blast, man. Like the last time we went, there was a food festival, and you buy like tickets and stuff like that, and you can go grab from whatever vendor some food, and it was a really good time. I actually fucking cleaned up last time. I made like 80 something bucks off of, I think, like maybe $30 in bets, which isn't a lot, but it's still fun to win. And it's actually a little bit easier on the mental. It's not like you're in Vegas and you're just fucking shelling 20s into a slot machine, and you're like, well, fuck, I lost $150 in less than 3 minutes. You're betting a couple bucks here on this horse, betting a couple on that one, on the race, and stuff like that. So it makes it a little more easier, I guess, to lose. But you can win some decent money if you make the right picks. And it's just a trip. When they go down that back straight and they're coming around like the final 2 turns to like the home stretch, man, the place just gets fucking so loud, and people are screaming and hollering, and it's an intense energy and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun to go and watch, and you can bring your kids or whatever too. And I eventually want to go to one of the major stakes races at Santa Anita next time it comes around. It's usually like right before the Kentucky Derby, but since I'm not around home or anything, missed out on that one. But yeah, I'd eventually love to go to the Kentucky Derby too. But that's kind of a big checklist, I guess, thing for me. That would be like a bucket list or whatever you want to call it, thing for me, is just to go check out the Kentucky Derby one day. Be pretty cool. But my pick for the race was a horse called West Saratoga, and they kind of do like background like stories and stuff on the horses. And this trainer, Larry Demerit, he had a good story. He's been battling cancer for like a couple decades now, and was even doing like chemo sessions and stuff like a couple days before the race. And yeah, he just had a really good story to him, and I thought it was worth having my pick. I mean, the horse was a long shot anyways, but he'd only bought the horse for $11,000, and for it to run in a crazy like prestigious race like that, it's a pretty big accomplishment, considering they had another horse that was purchased for $2.3 million. So and that horse didn't even win. I don't even think the fucking horse got into the top 5. I'm not really sure. But yeah, the horse that I wanted, West Saratoga, had a 22-1 odds, And so, I mean, it wasn't looking too promising, but you never know. The one that had a long shot a couple years ago, I think it was Mage, ended up winning, and that fucking horse made a shitload of money for a bunch of people that picked it. And so sometimes you just got to say fuck the odds and just go with the gut instinct. And that's kind of what I did in Santa Anita last time. I didn't know anything about the jockeys and was just kind of going off of kind of a feel, and I ended up winning some pretty good money. But my horse yesterday ended up finishing 11th out of the 20 horses, and the race finish though was amazing, dude. Like, these guys are sitting there going, stride for stride down the home stretch, and it was a 3-horse like photo finish. So the 3 horses that ended up going 1, 2, and 3 were Mystic Dan, Sierra Leone, and Forever Young. Forever Young was actually a horse from Japan, and yeah, it was a crazy photo finish. Like, it was so close. But just seeing that kind of shit, like, I could imagine like 160,000 people, are on hand to watch the race, and I couldn't imagine just the noise that shit produced, like, just all concentrated on one area, because the fans aren't, like, it's not around the whole track, it's only in the like grandstand area where you can like really observe the race at. That's where 95% of the people are at, and it would just be super fun to go one day. So hopefully one day I can go to the Kentucky Derby and see what that's all about, the whole gala affair that they have going on there, because you have like the women have like crazy outfits on and big hats, big over the top hats, and just everybody's dressed to the nines and stuff. I think it would just be cool. But yeah, so after that was done, I decided to watch Supercross, and I've been mentioning Supercross on a couple episodes previously, and my total infatuation with this year's season is just like, I don't know, man, it's unreal. Like, you just don't ever know what's going to happen, and like the whole season can get flipped upside down in a matter of seconds. So it's cool. But for you guys that do follow Supercross or are hoping, I hope you guys start following Supercross. It's obviously dirt bike racing, but on the highest level you can get to. But they're actually about to just finish up the Supercross portion of the SMX season. So yeah, like I said before, just a bunch of ups and downs, really. Last night was round 16 out of 17 for the Supercross portion. They raced in Denver, and it didn't disappoint. The points lead is like, it's really close for the West Coast division in the 250 class. So they're going into the final round now, and you got Levi Kitchen, RJ Hampshire. Those guys are tied for the championship points with this last round to go. So it's going to be, every man for themselves and winner take all at the very last round. So it's just going to be fun to watch, man. I'm like getting like antsy, like just talking about it. But next weekend they race in Salt Lake City, and it's gonna be a fucking show, man. Plus, on top of that, it's the East versus West showdown. So they bring all the riders from the East, all the riders from the West, in the 250 class, and they go at it. Both East and West, top riders get to basically just get down with each other. They'll have a winner for that, and they're also going to be having individual East and West Coast champions. So those two guys are going to be battling out for the West, and Tom Vial is all but wrapped up the championship in the East. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, man, anything can happen. Somebody crashes in a practice or a qualifier and doesn't start the race, or they crash during the race and take themselves out or get taken out by somebody. It's just so much fun to watch, man. I can't fucking wait until the next season starts, even though this one's even halfway done, barely even halfway done. We still have all the way up until like September or October until the entire thing is settled and you have your whole SMX champion. But yeah, it's a blast to watch. I was watching the 450s, which is the premier class, and Jet and his brother Hunter fucking ran away with it, and now Jet's got a 20-point lead over Cooper Webb, who finished 5th last night. And we were just kind of just wondering, like, what the fuck's going on with this guy, man? He's been outside the podium. Like, if he's trying to make points up on Jet, like, he's got to fucking push, dude. And then like I guess after the race last night, he kind of admitted he's had a left hand UCL tear in his thumb. So yeah, he's pretty much smoked at this point. Unless something catastrophic happens and he's manages to make it through the race, it's looking like Jet Lawrence is going to have his rookie 450 debut championship in his first year. So I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to seeing the races because, like I said, the tables could turn any second of the races, and it's anyone's game till the end, basically. And it just gets better and better every race. So looking forward to that. And if you guys haven't already figured it out, it's something you guys need to watch because it just makes you want to keep watching more and more and more and more. And then you get invested into riders and teams, and you just see the whole season unfolding. And it's just like it's very addictive, very addictive to watch these races. And you'd have to see it just to understand it. It's not like a NASCAR thing where they just go in a circle. These guys, it's a lot more technical than that. So for all you guys that don't know, now you know. I'm putting you guys on to the Supercross game. So hopefully this next season starts up. If you don't watch the rest of the season, start from the beginning. Usually in January they have the Anaheim races, which I attend. Me and everybody else in the family try to make it to the Anaheim races. So yeah, that's your opportunity if you're in California. I mean, they have a bunch of races in California, but the Anaheim races are really where it's at. Those are the most fun, I think. But yeah, pulling for the Honda guys this year. I just want to see him winning that championship again, and especially for Jet Lawrence, crazy good rider. So yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see what happens next week. Let me see, what else do I got here? This one too. Yeah, I was actually reading through this the other day, and I can't even say that I've admitted because I already knew what was going on, but I saw a little thing about ADHD the other day, and I was kind of like, huh, okay, it's 10 adult ADHD signs you may not recognize are actually symptoms. And I'm just going through this list, and I'm like, yep, that checks. The first one, though, is, let me see here, procrastinating to the extreme. So I'm a big procrastinator. I try not to procrastinate, but I always find myself procrastinating. I don't know if I would say to the extreme, because I'll be like, all right, man, I just got to get the fuck up and go do this or that or whatever it is. It says the average person might feel bored by a routine task, but with ADHD, the negative feeling is more extreme, and so too the avoidance of it. It can be missed as a potential ADHD symptom because it looks like intentional laziness and lack of motivation, which I can kind of relate to, I guess, on that one, because it's not that I have a lack of motivation. It's just I have a lot of shit that just slips my mind. Sometimes I'm just too enveloped in other things, and the small things kind of just I don't know. I don't see them as kind of like being a priority depending on what it is. But yeah, it's just sometimes you just get too wrapped up, and that's kind of how it follows suit with the other stuff that's kind of not major on the list of shit to do. The second one is hyper-focusing on the same task for hours. This happens to me when I clean. When I clean things, or when I'm, detailing like a car or something like that, I will lose all track of time, and it gets done. It's not like it doesn't get done. I just fuck around all day long, but I do hyper focus, and I find myself doing it on stuff that I'm really into. So I mean, the stuff I used to do all the time when I was playing gigs. like cleaning my drums, detailing my drums down to like the fucking threads on the tuning lugs and stuff like that, like just going over the top on stuff like that. And I mean, it's good, gear maintenance and stuff like that if you're into that kind of stuff. That's just me speaking on one kind of topic or whatever, but yeah, I do tend to hyper focus too, and especially when it comes to like cleaning. I notice I clean like super into stuff, and I'll be on one thing for a while, and then I'll finish that and I'll just keep going, but I'll get like so focused on one thing, it has to be completely done exactly the way I need it to be before I'm like satisfied with it. So I do hyper focus too. Spending impulsively. Yeah, definitely guilty of that. And I know some of you guys out there can attest to this too. Everybody impulse buys, but I don't know if they draw a line to like, to what extent though. I mean, because like I've been like, oh, that's a cool shirt, I need it, and I'll buy it. And then I've been like, hey, that's a cool car, I need it, and then I buy it. So I mean, that checks too. Spending impulsively. Yeah, it's just kind of funny reading that. It says adults with ADHD are more likely to make poor financial decisions, say making impulsive purchases for that hit of dopamine, putting off the boredom of paying bills, or losing track of when they're due. That is not true for me, because I am very much on top of paying my bills. I overstress on shit like that. I keep everything written down, my billing cycles, what day stuff is due. I'm very, very big on that one. So I kind of disagree with that one a little bit, because I don't neglect any type of like financial institution that I'm tied to, whether it's a bank payment or credit card or whatever. And definitely I'm on top of those bills. So I'm going to kind of say fuck you to this one, but I am guilty of the impulse buying, dude. I've done it a bunch of times. Bought my fucking Harley like that. I bought my Kawasaki like that. I bought my Baja Bug like that. And it was just kind of like, hey, I see it as if I'm able to spend this money, not put any financial strain on myself, and I'm still able to keep up with the things that I already have, then why not? You know what I mean? Like it's my shit. It's my money. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. And, I don't see anything wrong with that. So I encourage, not reckless spending, but if you got an impulsive buy, what's wrong with it, dude? Go ahead and get yourself a little something. I have no problem in that, but just don't get yourself in trouble. That's all I'm saying. Don't do anything, financially stupid, like sign a, contract to go to school and then, oh, I don't like my major, I'm going to drop out now, boo-hoo, but look at me, I'm in debt. Mr. President, can I have some money? Fuck you guys. How about that? Don't impulsively be like, yeah, I'm going to take a student loan. For how much? For $60,000. Are you going to be able to make it back? Probably not. Then don't fucking sign it. If you're spending like $300-$400, cool. If you're spending $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, you can make it back or sell the item or whatever, cool. But if you're signing all this shit and expect for somebody else to pay for it, fuck off. There we go. That cleans that up. Let me see. Number 4, losing all sense of time. I don't know about this one though. Better known as time blindness, people with ADHD find it tricky to keep track of time or know how much time they'll need to do an activity. Kind of, because I'm never really like, hey, I can get this done in 3 hours. If I give myself like a strict time limit and it's not like that big of a task to do, then I can get it done. But if I'm just like kind of freestyling, like, oh, I'm just going to decide to do this at fucking 3 or 4 in the afternoon, knowing damn well I only have, a few hours left of sunlight and I need to be outside or whatever, probably not going to do it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I completely lose track of time. I'm very much focused on that with activities and stuff like that. But yeah, who can tell you every single time they do something it's going to take me X amount of time, unless you're like you're being paid to do something. That's kind of like a different thing right there. But I think I got that one under control. Number 5 is experiencing emotional outbursts. From anxious and edgy to happy and chatty to angry and aggressive, people with ADHD can experience emotional dysregulation that causes them to have strong emotional reactions even they don't see coming. I'd agree with that. Yeah, I mean, because sometimes, like, especially on my trip right now, man, like, I was so, like, jazzed up to be here. And then just the other day, I just had, like, this crippling, like, fucking not want to do shit, like, attitude. I was like, I'm fucking done with this shit. I don't want to fucking do anything, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, that one is definitely relatable. I'd have to say for sure, because I do get into mood swings, but they don't last very long. Sometimes maybe like a day or two, just depending on like situation kind of thing. But it's also, for me right now, just being away from home. It's never easy. And I think that kind of plays a little more on it than me just being in a shitty mood for no reason. So yeah, that one's like a 50%er. I guess I'll kind of agree with that. But number 6 here, forgetting to eat. Yeah, I don't know if I forget to eat. Sometimes I just say fuck it and I don't eat. Like, I don't forget to eat. Like, oh, I forgot to eat a cheeseburger today. No, it's not like that. It's like sometimes I just get busy doing shit, or I'll just be doing an activity for so long. It's just like I didn't even realize, like, I haven't eaten all day long. I don't get hungry, so I mean, I'll eat when I'm hungry, I guess. Like, if I'm not hungry enough to eat, I don't like forcing myself to eat. Like, I feel like shit if I do that. And odds are I'm probably going to get a stomachache if I force myself to eat. So I'm definitely getting lunches and stuff like that, and dinners when I'm at work regular. So yeah, I don't know. I don't forget to eat. So that's kind of weird. Having trouble sleeping. It says insomnia doesn't necessarily mean you have ADHD, but research suggests adults with ADHD may be predisposed to sleep issues. It could be a side effect of impaired activity in the reticular activating system, a network of nerve pathways in the brainstem that are essential in mediating a person's level of consciousness. The only time really I get like disturbed, like sleeping patterns and shit like that, is if my neck or my back are hurting. Other than that, dude, I'm sleeping like a rock. I sleep like a rock, dude. Especially if I got my nice sleep number bed, man. I love my bed. I love my bed. I love my pillow. And Blaze can be on the bed, hogging it up, and I'm still just like, hey, I'll give you your room. You can have like 85% of the bed, and we'll take whatever's left, and I'll ball up and sleep, you know? But I do wake up frequently if like my neck is hurting. If I have like a neck or back problem, yeah, that's the only time I really get disturbed when I sleep. The 8th one here is taking forever to make decisions. People with ADHD may experience slower processing speeds. Processing speed refers to how quickly you can react to a given stimulus within a limited time frame. That's definitely me, dude. I take forever to make a decision on stuff, and I know Kayla gets fucking irritated when I don't make up my mind immediately. And it was like that too with my dad and my brother. We're always like, what do you want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? I don't know what I want for dinner. What do you guys want for dinner? Well, shit, I don't know. Whatever you guys want. Oh, well, I don't care. What do you guys feel like having? I don't know, man. Like, it sounds good, you know. If you guys want it, I guess. And it would literally just fucking bounce back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back. And she's just like, would you guys fucking make up your mind already? Like, goddamn. But yeah, I am 100% guilty of taking forever to make decisions. Unless it's something, like I said, I'm like really set on and I already know what I'm going to do and have that clear path forward, the decision is easier to make. But I do take a while to make decisions. I'm kind of slow with that. So guilty. Number 9 is feeling perpetually restless. Restlessness tends to be one of the sneakier signs of adult ADHD, largely due to how easily the external behaviors of restlessness can be attributed to other things like an intense workload or drinking too much coffee. Persistent fidgeting of the hands, legs, and feet, as well as picking at your skin, can also be subtle signs of restlessness. I never really thought or think that I have like perpetual restlessness, or restlessness in general. I mean, just from like having the like percussion background, I would always like kind of just tap along with stuff if I was listening to it, but I wouldn't be like in my classroom like fucking banging on my desk or anything like obnoxious like that. Um, but I would find myself getting like nervous a lot, I guess, but I wouldn't do anything like kind of out of the ordinary. I mean, I'd like kind of would like tap my foot or something like that if I knew something like major was coming up, but not to the point where it would like disturb people. So I never really figured anything like that was kind of a bad thing. But I definitely know people that do that shit, and I guess they have a little bit of ADHD coursing through their veins, which is cool. And then the final one, rambling and monopolizing conversations. This podcast. This is kind of why I like doing the podcast, because like I said in the beginning, I would journal stuff sometimes and it would just feel like it was just closed off, and never would really like get a chance to talk about stuff or like explain stuff, at least in my point of view. So I do tend to ramble, but I don't like taking over a conversation unless somebody asks me like directly a question or something like that, and then I can just fucking literally just take off and go on for days depending on what the topic is and if I'm really like invested in talking about it to them. And it just depends on who the person is as well too, because I'm not gonna like just walk up to a random person and be like, hey man, this is a good coffee, huh? And then just like completely take over the conversation. I feel that I have the ability to do that, but I know that and I don't do it because you know, I'm a talker. I can talk for a while. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the 10 you know, signs that you have adult ADHD. So if I've helped you out anyway, you can definitely go get tested, it says, for ADHD, dude. I don't know. I just figured I had this shit for my whole life. It says you might want to get evaluated for ADHD if you're experiencing 5 or more symptoms of ADHD, and these symptoms have been persisting for longer than 6 months, are present in 2 or more settings, say at work and in your relationships, and are reducing the quality of how you function in your life. Sometimes you just got to take a breath, man, because all this medicine shit and you know, stuff that they're going to try to give you, it's all in the way that you handle it, I think, man. Whether it's through like breathing exercises or, you know, different stuff like that, can definitely help calm the active mind, if you want to call it that. I notice like when I'm getting too like out of hand with shit like that, I just kind of got to sit down and like recenter. Or even listening to music, man, that shit settles me down so much. And it just depends on too, like I can be like in a weird mood and listen to heavy stuff, or I just find like I feel like I'm being too busy, like my thoughts are being too busy right now, and I'll need to kind of recenter and listen to some shit that will just kind of just chill me out. And that's what I do. And speaking of music that can chill you out, my newest favorite music right now that I've been listening to a bunch lately, just over and over, is it's an indie pop group from Sydney, Australia. They're called Royal Otis, and I don't know if you guys have heard of them, or maybe some of you guys have, or maybe nobody has. I just kind of just picked up on them. They caught my attention on Instagram recently, and I saw a clip of them performing. It was a cover of the Cranberries' song "Linger," and they did it on Sirius XM. So I was like, "Oh shit!" Like this dude's got a pretty cool sounding voice, and it was just him and the guitar player. So there's actually 4 people that make up the group, but the main 2 are Otis Pavlovich, however you want to go about that, and Royal Maddle. So it's Royal Otis, is where they obviously come up with the name from, and they kind of just came around with like the past few years in 2021, They had a single called Without You, and that's a good one. And they're fucking blowing up right now, and they're actually coming to North America, and guess who, won't be able to go to a show because I'm working. Surprise, surprise, this guy right here. But yeah, if you're into looking into those guys, I would highly suggest checking them out. They are called Royal Otis, and they have a record called Pratts and Pain, Pratts and Pain, Pain, and they have a track on there, it's called Foam, and that's my favorite one. It's like this like swaggy kind of loose kind of vibe, and it's got a catchy chorus to it. And yeah, I don't know, man. I've been like hooked on these dudes for a couple weeks now, and forgot to mention it the last podcast. But just mentioning that I kind of just chill out with music, and that definitely helps me out, and I'm sure it helps a lot of other people out too, just to kind of vibe out and just relax. Sometimes no matter what kind of music you're into, it can be a big help. But yeah, I would suggest everyone go check these guys out if you're like into the indie kind of pop music stuff. And if you guys even have any suggestions for me, which I'm dying to always hear new music. I kind of get sick and tired of my shit all the time. So I'll be looking for some suggestions to anybody that's listening to this episode right now. I hope you guys send them my way. And I'll let you know what I think about them. But yeah, as for that, I think that wraps up. This episode. This one was a cool one. I know the last week's episode or the previous episode wasn't all there. So yeah, I think I kind of stepped it up for this one. Made sure to be on my P's and Q's and paid attention to shit during the week. And if you guys are, in the know, if you guys are following any stories, you can always hit me up as well too, because that would be a kind of a help. Getting some new material in from different people, or taking questions or comments or whatever. Like I always say, that's always fun to do. So I think that's it, though, man. You can get this podcast once again through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you guys are streaming podcasts at. Also, go and tell your friends and folks and whoever else to follow me on Instagram at digital_demons_podcast. We can watch all these episodes actually on YouTube. Just type in Digital Demons Podcast. Go on X. Find me there at DGITLDMNSPOD. And if you have any of those music suggestions, like I was just talking about, or you have any questions or anything you guys want to submit to the show, I'll be checking it all out. You can email me at digitaldemonspodcast@gmail.com. And I'll be looking forward to chatting with you guys pretty soon here. But until the next one comes around, hope you guys have a safe Cinco de Mayo. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And if you do, name it after me. All right, take care of yourselves. Peace.